welcome back to the Husky Fang Draft League. You've got Paxky on chair one here today, and Realize on chair two. How are you doing today, Realize?
I'm doing great. How about you? I'm here to watch some good old Smite.
Yeah, here to watch and cast some good old Smite. There you go. Sorry for the delay, but our teams were a little slow in getting into lobby, but we should be starting any second now. So, uh, now these teams tonight. Let's talk about them. We have the 5Ds versus Waffle House. And I believe I casted Waffle House's last game actually a few days ago. Have you done any research on these teams, Realize, or are you going in blind like most people would?
Yeah, I'm mostly going in blind. I think I saw, was it Sean was on the 5Ds? I know he's the mid laner, I believe. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes. Normally he is the mid laner, so we'll have to see what they are where they go from here. It looks like we're getting right into the draft right away. So let's see what they decide to ban. Do you expect some meta bans here, or are you thinking that there might be some more target bans? And again, this is the lower division. We see Kali coming out first.
I think so far what I'm seeing here is just like the standard rank bans. I feel like at this level there's not as much of a focus on specific people playing specific gods. Maybe we'll see more of that in game two, but so far I'm seeing just mostly a bunch of the standard rank bans that you'd be seeing playing the ladder.
That makes sense. And now we see Baka getting banned out as well. So there we go. Now I have game audio. Now there we go. Now we can hear the beautiful, beautiful start.
Oh, there we go.
Loading screen music. No worries. Looks like Cullen gets banned out, and that I believe must be the first of the target bans here, because I have not seen him banned in a very, very long time. I don't believe he's in the strongest place in the meta. But Freya getting banned out as well. She did just get buffed today. Her pulse now doing a little bit more damage early game. Her late game should still be about the same damage, I believe, but it's just so that she can clear a little better early on. And I think that ban does make sense from what I've seen, and along with Baron now. So, what's still left on the board that you like? Realize?
Oh, I think. Well, I was going to mention the King Arthur is still very strong right now with the new build with the Sovereignty Bluestone Star. It hasn't been touched at all in this patch. I think that's going to be a very strong pick. As we see the Nemesis being locked in as well, still very good despite the New Balance patch where Golden Blade is nerfed now. It is now 150 more gold, meaning that they will have to farm slightly longer before getting that head start. But I still think she's a very strong god, very good at shutting down tanks. As the as they just picked the King Arthur, I think it's a very nice pickup into that.
Yeah, and she has lots of builds that you can go. You basically can build any item on her and still feel pretty good. I wasn't even one of those guys building Golden Blade, and I've yet to be allowed to play Nemesis in my league games so far. It's been a target ban on my end every single time, so
That
we'll
just
have to
means
see.
they've done their homework.
Yeah, it does mean that they've done their homework. That's very true. So yeah, now Fafnir getting locked in here this early is surprising as well. I guess they really do want to just lock down this Arthur. He does all right into him, but they've got some really good objective shred as well with the Nemesis and Fafnir locked in so far. I'm surprised though. It feels like there are a couple more priority picks that could have been taken. It feels like just to name a few, Uller is still available. He hasn't been touched or nerfed at all. And there's a couple more. Well, I guess they already had their jungler and nemesis, but some characters out still available on the board. I expect Mercury might be locked in here. AMT is still available as well. A couple of other hunters that Chernobog that just really have been dominating the meta at the SPL level. So I'd be surprised if we don't see at least one hunter get locked in here
Yeah.
by the side of 5Ds.
Yeah, I'm expecting them with this Nemesis Fafnir comp to go very auto attack focused. Maybe even three hunters as we've been seeing a lot, which me personally, I really hate seeing. But hey, if it wins games, it wins games. That's just when you first pick an Arthur, you really don't want to see three ADCs. You're just not gonna have a fun time.
No, definitely not. Now, they are taking a sweet, sweet amount of time here trying to pick their next two picks. They haven't even hovered anything yet either. It almost,
This is
man, they're
half
really
their bank
deliberating
time.
it. Yeah, I know. They're wasting most of their bank time here, so we'll have to see. Again, I expect at least a Hunter and maybe the other frontliner to get locked in here. I think that would make the most sense. The Kumba Karna, who's seen a bit of a resurgence despite not really being buffed recently. I think his mobility and his ability to be really annoying and just run around and draw lots of relics. Has really been what's been building him up. And yeah, they go against everything that I just said about needing to pick a hunter here. So Fenrir gets locked in. So now all of their front line has been locked in here. They've got their what we can only assume is a King Arthur solo, Kumakarna support, and a Fenrir jungle. So I fully expect the Waffle House to grab. I mean, the Oler is sitting right there. Do they not have someone comfortable on it or something? I wonder. What do you think?
Yeah, is it? I think they might be a bit hesitant to pick the Uller into a Fenrir. You know, no CC immune ult makes it kind of hard to escape that Unchained if he ever gets hit by the Fenrir ult. Also, Kumbhakarna very easy to burn beads with that character. You know, very good into auto attack focused characters. That 3 second mez is incredible in a team fight. That's a 4 speeds. As you see, they're gonna pick the Wukong here. I was expecting them to pick an ADC solo, to be honest, but I'm glad I'm seeing the Wukong instead.
Yeah, well, wow, we've got the bands are almost certainly going to come out towards the back line now, as all 6 frontline characters have been picked for both
Yeah.
teams here. So I mean, some other names again. AMC, I'm surprised he has been prioritized here, especially by the side by the blue side here. But again, Chernobog, another character that just is so safe, so dominant. You know, you can build Leather Cowl, has really good lane clear with his 1-2 combo. It really uses the cooldown that Transcendence gives him really well as well, along with just having an ultimate that can put him anywhere he needs to be on the map at any given time. It's a very strong character. So we see Thoth getting banned out here. I think that must be a target ban.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick. I don't think Thoth is really that big of a deal into their comp. I mean, like, the Wukong could just easily dive them. Nemesis has basically no problems ulting and just running him down. I don't really see why that's a focus. I think I would have liked to see them ban one of the hunters that you mentioned earlier instead.
Yeah, well, I think maybe they're both calling each other's bluff here, you know, saying, all right, if you didn't pick him there, then you're not going to pick him at all. Man, we're still seeing their bank time get get
Not a
torn through here.
only one hunter has been banned this entire draft, which is shocking to me, honestly.
Yeah, we see Morgan banned on one side. That must be a target ban as well. She has been, I suppose that she does have a decent ultimate there, transformation already in the Nemesis and the Sun Wukong at this point in the game. Uh, but I feel like I haven't seen her as much in the SBL level either, especially because of how strong hunters are. Those are usually her bigger weaknesses, right? It's when the enemy hunter is able to cast onto her. So we see a Tiamat getting banned, and that's a solid pick, I think, to get rid of as well. Man, this is we're gonna are we gonna see a hunter or not? Like, come
Yeah,
on,
this is. I
Patrocles,
mean,
give us a hunter.
hunters weren't really like nerfed this patch, which is like. Well, I mean, Jin Wei got a slight nerf, but I don't think they're nerfed enough where like they're not metal. And what is this? Uh,
Yeah, he is. That's a. I'm guessing that's
that
a
is.
Jormungandr mid. I'm gonna throw it out there. This guy's trying to rip off Seahost from the Grandmasters rank scene. I think that could be a Yorm mid. He does have lots of damage, and honestly, the way you play him in solo, think about it. You get in there, you throw out your kit, and then you ult, right? And you're building mostly damage. So I could see this being a Yorm mid, unless that's a Sun Wukong mid or something like that. But this
This is
is
a
quite a pick.
very interesting pick, and also I I don't believe I find it kind of questionable because I don't believe Fafnir Coerce works on Yorm autos. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think that combo really works as we see the Hotchmon and the Iset getting locked in as the backline for 5D. Uh, yeah, I really don't know about this pick. I mean, it could work. I could be wrong, but I just think like there's nothing that Yorm brings that a traditional mage wouldn't really do better.
I agree at this point. And when we look at the side of Waffle House, I mean, what hard CC do they have? There's the Chernobog getting locked in. So we have 2 hunters in this game at least. We got Hachiman and Cherno. That's good to see. But
The average amount of hunters.
yeah, the normal amount. Well, so maybe they just feel more comfortable in the picks that they've got. But you know, looking at the side of Waffle House, what's their initiation here? I mean, they've got Fafnir ult, I guess, and then they've got 2 CCs there. They've got Jormungandr knockups. They've got Sun Wukong Blink Tigers. But outside of that, they have almost no hard CC, which, uh, And without a Fafnir ultimate, I guess they're relying on a Fafnir stun. The hammer is coming out. Meanwhile, on the side of 5Ds, look at how much CC they've got. They've got a ton of hard CC in their team.
Yeah, I think their initiation is gonna be a bit alleviated by the fact that they have a very immobile mid laner on the side of 5Ds with the E set. Very easy to dive as long as she doesn't have like a whole team supporting her, not a lot of mobility. So I can definitely see it happening. They do have a lot of structure damage, a lot of single target shreds, so they could just choose to not team fight and just look for those objectives early, farm a lead, and then just push down lanes and win the game that way. But yeah, so far I'm favoring the comp on 5Ds a lot more than Waffle House because I just think their comp is just a lot more balanced. They don't really have too many notable weaknesses besides the mid laner being a bit easy to gank.
Yeah, I agree. The as long as Sean plays the E set properly, doesn't get caught slipping too hard by the Nemesis, they should be feeling pretty good early game. Yeah, they've got Fenrir for pressure in the jungle as well. That character can have some deadly ganks starting at level 2. Arthur versus Sun Wukong, that's just going to be a lane that, unless something crazy happens early, they're just going to be farming their own buffs. They're not going to be fighting too much. Or maybe they'll be fighting a lot, but there won't be a lot of kill pressure. So I really think that the duo side of the map is where we're going to see most of the action. And again, this Yorm mid versus E set should be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, this is
Like clear wise, yeah.
it perplexes me because it's not like there's, I guess with the exception of the Fenrir and the Kumbhakarna ults, like the epic uppercut and the and the Ragnarok. I mean, they both, like, Yorm is immune to them, but I just don't see that being a worthwhile enough reason to pick this Jormungandr mid. It's just, I mean, we'll have to wait until to see how it plays in game. I just don't think it's a very good pick here.
I'm curious to see how it plays because I definitely could see it backfiring. If they fall behind, they're in some serious trouble.
I
But
agree.
at the same time, Yorm will off a knockup on an immobile character like Eset will one-shot that character. He will he'll lurk his way in, knock him up, tremble them, and then spit on them, and they will essentially be dead at that point, and then maybe an ultimate to finish them off. So, well, again, we'll have to watch that mid lane a little bit, but I expect a lot of the action to be centered around purple buff invades. So, which out of the two drafts so far, which duo lane would you say should have pressure after the for first and second purples?
I believe if they play this correctly, the side of Waffle House will have more pressure in my opinion because I think Chernobog has a bit more pressure than Hachi. They're both not known for being aggressive gods, but I do think that Chernobog has slightly better clear, along with the Fafnir cores, which will help out a lot as we get into the game here. Yeah, I think that the jungler will have to decide a lot of the pressure here, and in terms of the jungler, Fenrir has much more pressure than Nemesis early. So we'll have to see how much of an impact the jungler.
Yes, I think that's a very good point. Following around Dracul here on the Fenrir will be super, super important because he should be using that pressure because Nemesis really before level 5, unless there's some serious misplays or people out of position, she's not really looking for a gank before level 5, before she gets that stone cutting or whatever item she ends up going in the first slot online. But as these guys are loading in, we see the game is started, and let's see what some of these builds come out to be. We do get confirmation that it is the Jormungandr mid, the the Sun Wukong building the way that he's building, and first thing I
I mean,
noticed...
that could be Sun Wukong mid, you never know.
I believe that is, yeah, but Patrocles is the solo laner as well. I
Okay,
remember from the previous cast. Yes, we see Hogs coming out. We see Nemesis going this typical start with Eye of the Jungle versus Fenrir though having Goombas. So that's gonna be something interesting to watch late game if we get that far and the game is relatively even. Fenrir does have Blink as well, so he's looking to get it active early. He's looking to really get in there and force relics. We noticed the Kumbhakarna and sorry, Kumba's on his team. What am I saying? The Fafnir does not have beads, and we'll have to see what the Yorm mid ends up going. He goes beads as well. So this poor Fenrir is gonna have to pick his targets carefully here, looking for Ragnaroks, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't get manage to pull a god, it's still powerful being able to burn that relic that allows some other members of your team, and we need to mention that Kumakarna also an incredibly strong god for burning bees. I think if they play this correctly, after Kumakarna enable the Fenrir to really like hit it off early game, they could have an incredibly strong start to this game.
And one thing we notice is the mid duo or mid jungle duos on both sides are starting differently. We had Eset and Fenrir starting on speed, while Nemesis and Jormungandr started on red buff. Do we have a tech pause? Is this
Oh,
a
now we're heading back.
And we're back. Perfect. Well, now we love free pause. We love free pause. But yes, so they're going to Yorm went straight to mid as well. I don't believe they split red buff or speed buff with them. So the reason you do that start is to get your jungler at level 2 off of just the back camps alone. Your mid laner will also get level 2 off of the mid wave. Let's see. We'll have to see what happens up here as we see that Hachiman and Kumba do have some pressure in duo.
Yeah, I think with the new balance patch changes since 9.5, it's just incredibly hard to get a kill early on in lane. I think we'll have to go somewhere towards the part where each team starts to get their ultimates before we see really any kill potential in these lanes. As I say that, the King Arthur falls incredibly low, so hopefully I don't take back my words here.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to zone him off some minions. Fenrir coming back mid as well, so it looks like they're doing the classic Oreo trade for pressure on this wave. We'll see if they end up paying for it, though. They did not have a way to clear those camps too quickly. As
go ahead. For those who don't know, Oreos are oracles.
Yes, of course. The as we see Isak getting run down here, a big stun to save their life. But now we see why that Oreo trade is not necessarily a bad thing for this for Waffle House, as they have now pressure somehow. I didn't really see what happened leading up to that, but they're able to go for these left mids. It looks like both teams are content with just trading them at this point. Hachiman getting stunned out by Fafnir, who then walks into his damage. It was very kind of him to help him out there. But we see this King Arthur getting low as well, man.
This solo lane's being very aggressive right now.
Yeah,
they're both trading all their health right now.
Yeah, they must have had the jungler locations called out, and as we see here, the Nemesis makes the first big play of the game with an invade on the King Arthur's blue buff. Looks like she got it. Fenrir even blinking to try and get close enough to stop it, but now he's going to follow this Nemesis out. We'll see if there's any counter invade here. Fenrir getting chased out.
72 transformations coming in, and that is a first kill. First blood on the side of Waffle House on the Sun Wukong, followed up by a kill by King Arthur. Is that stun hit? No, it's not.
Wow, and that is exciting to see. So first blood is taken, but along with a blue buff, but then the kill is traded back. So notice Sun Wukong coming back without Soul Leader, so he's not going to be feeling too happy after that. Wonder if he held his beads for no reason there too. I wonder if he could have survived in some way. We'll have to see. Maybe another time we'll have to ask him after the game what he's thinking here. But the Sean also makes that rotation over, which could end up hurting his team here, as it looks like purple buff is being invaded off of that pressure Jormungandr was able to take by clearing that mid wave and staying in mid instead. So Hachiman walking up here. Looks like they are trying to contest it. That buff does get stolen away.
Yorm has ult. Appears he's not going to use it. Maybe he didn't have any mana left.
That must have been it. Shell and beads forced out of the duo lane as well here. So that buff does get successfully invaded. Eset with her ultimate. I don't know if she thinks that she's got any kills here, but she does go in and walk away. All right, and yeah, we're up to our usual fighting shenanigans that happen sometimes in these games, you know.
Yeah.
Looks like they will secure their own red buff here, though, so they didn't lose everything on the left side of the map for that. counter rotation. Nemesis as well, looking for another invade on the blue buff side of the map. We'll be curious to see here if Kuba does. Kuba should be hitting 5 off this wave. If they can maybe catch the Fafnir sleeping, they might be able to kill him. As we see, Nemesis securing the blue buff. Uh-oh. Big dive here from the Jormungandr in mid. Does Eset live?
It appears she will.
Unlucky, you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, the way the Yorm dives into the pool sometimes. It looks like Fafnir ult was forced in exchange for Hachiman ult, so not for nothing at this point. Chernobog still does have ultimate to get back into lane as well, so I don't expect any kills coming out of here. But, you know, how would you say the game's gone so far, I realize?
I think so far, I thought I would see a lot more pressure from the Fenrir. We've really seen Nemesis having the most impact on the map so far in terms of junglers after those 2 blue invades, which I believe were both successful. And so far, Nem has a level lead. That I don't think that's really something you want to see as you're playing Fenrir, is have a Nemesis have a level lead on it.
No, especially not this early in the game. I definitely agree with that. So, is there any way we could actually pull up experience or net value? Net worth is probably the best stat to look at this so far. Stat number 8.
Number 8, net worth.
Now, as we see, solo laners are ahead, but yeah, look at this Nemesis up 400 gold. She didn't even get first blood. That was the Sun Wukong who did. So, looks like the Arthur was able to make up most of that first blood gold with his kill. And now look at this again, Nemesis still have an impact on the map, going and invading this purple buff, or attempting to at least, and we'll see what happens here. This is
very risky.
Speed's used by Nemesis, but she does get stunned and Kuba ulted. I don't expect her to get out of that, and there she goes. She will fall. So a successful invade. However, they are paying the price for it right now. It looks like Fenrir was not successful, but
I think he bit like 4 times in 8 air every time.
But it does not matter because they end up following up on the kill onto Joy Wolf, onto that poor Fafnir without beads. I don't blame them for holding shell there. They probably would have died anyways. But Chernobog says, it's okay, guys. I got my purple buff. So, and I got my. Now I'm stacking Transcendence. Doesn't matter. Yeah, good job, guys. And you know, sits in the tower like a good little ADC always does, right? So now we notice King Arthur was able to secure his own blue buff this time around. Nemesis is going to Golden Blade build as well, as we see some of the first items getting finished up here. Anything stand out to you, John?
Yeah, what stands out to me is the fact that Nemesis has been building right now, so that means that she's gonna get even more ahead if she plays right. We see the Charge King after all coming out. Sure, just playing it. That will just make the gap between the junglers larger. I mean, right now things are mostly stabilized, but now Nemesis is going to be able to clear a lot faster with that Golden Blade. She's going to be able to farm up a lot more effectively. And I think that this could be a great time for her to get a big lead.
Yes, and look at Fenrir getting dove here. Do the auto cancels come out from virtually? Yes, they do. And now, Fafnir, very well played to use the transform to transition
and kill the Nemesis.
To trade, trying to trade the aggro properly there. Well done by the team, but unfortunately the Nemesis does end up taking tower aggro and dying for it. That's very funny. You know, it's a caster's curse right there. I'd be salty if I was Nemesis, but at the same time, don't blame the Fafnir for transforming there. Jormungandr, I believe, was unsuccessful. Yeah, beats down. Was unsuccessful in protecting his own buff. A good call by 5Ds to invade that red buff off of the fight going on in right. You know, it's a little the push-pull, right? That's what you want to see on your team is one side of the map is getting camped, the other side gets prioritized or gets that pressure or uses the knowledge somewhere else. And that was very well played by 5Ds to do that.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of the problems with the Jormungandr mid. You know, while he does have a lot of clear in way, and I believe that he has almost no buff secure to speak of. His 2 takes about 15 minutes to activate. That just leaves so much time for the enemy team to steal it. So it's just not very good when it comes to securing his own buff, so they took advantage of that.
Yeah, and one thing we notice here out of the ADC builds is that Hachiman is going back to the Devos build versus Chernobog going with Transcendence. I believe I believe it does make sense in this scenario because Hachiman, obviously with his passive, almost never runs out of mana, while Chernobog really does like to use that cooldown from Transcendence, and he does happen to be pretty mana hungry compared to other ADCs because he has to use 2 abilities to clear wave early on in the game at least. See a fight breaking out in mid over here. Nice mez by Kumba. Fafnir taking some poke. Big knockup out of Yorm, though, so this is where we're talking about. Iset getting ulted as well, but look at that healing. No anti-heal online quite yet for the Waffle House, and man, King Arthur, though, taking down the Nemesis with his charged ult. Poor Nemesis is just getting run at here, it looks like.
We were complimenting her, now she's defeating.
Yeah, it is tough, and now we see Yorm using his ult to get in there. Sun Wukong as well, dunking down. Fenrir saying, "Where's my team? Where's my team?" Trying to bring the Fafnir back. Looks like he's going to grab him here with his brutal eyes. Well played by 5Ds here to start wiping this team in retaliation for that E-set. Unchained missed by Fenrir, though, so I'm not sure if there's a kill here, unless, of course, Arthur has a wonderful charged ult to just take half of the enemy's health bar.
Wow, that is very low. Can we get a help on that Wukong?
That
must feel like. Oh, we didn't make it in time, but that seemed to be in double digits.
It had to have been under 50.
Stand aside.
No, good.
It was like a pixel thread.
Yes, 1 tiny millimeter of health left. However, and one thing we've noticed now is this Nemesis, who was ahead of the Fenrir early on, is now a level behind, or probably about a half level at the, I'm guessing. There she goes, she ticks over to 10. But notice she does have that stone cutting sword, so this is one of the strongest points of the game for Nemesis, at least in the early game here, where she has just finished that stone cutting sword and is ready to start doing almost true damage to the backliners here. So we'll be curious to see where she goes from here in terms of ganks. The ADC lane seems pretty even, although in net value, it looks like Hachiman has a little bit of a gold lead, although considering he has a kill and 2 assists, there's not too much of a lead built off of that at this point.
Yeah, I think it's the... I don't really think it's really that easy to get a lead on a Cherno. He's very safe with his dash. You know, he can just ult out of almost any situation if he goes for a gank. So I think he's really just trying to play this safe, make sure he doesn't fall behind and just get to that late game team fight.
Yes, and one thing to notice too is Hachiman has finished the Wind Demon. However, Chernobog, it looks like he's going, I would assume he's going Atalanta's Bow next in this build. But it looks like they did a pretty good job of holding him out, and as I say that, Hachiman backs and returns to base, but we see fighting going on over this Greater Scorpion. Nemesis, and oh, is this a solo kill?
Solo kill here. We see the Somersault Claw being used.
Ah, yes, the classic Wukong Arthur matchup here. Look at that healing from Soul Leader too. As we see a kill from Yorm onto the Fenrir. I wonder what happened there that built up to that. It looks like a Fenrir ult was used. And this Arthur does not know what's coming for it. This Arthur...
Oh, he is getting... Yeah, he just got 4-man gank, and you just don't like to see that when you're playing solo. You know, it's just...
Yeah, you see the other...
It's just not a good look.
Yeah, when the Wukong is standing there at your tower line with quarter HP, you know something must be up, right? And as we see, the Power Mounts are getting pulled off of that. And Arthur only had tier 1 of matchable defense at that point as well, so that Yorm and that Fafnir hammer hit very, very hard at this point in the game. As an Arthur as well, you hate dying in mid-game because it is very difficult for you to build that charge back up, so I'm sure Jay is feeling like he's versus the world right now, that's for sure. Curious to see what...
Another button invade.
Yes.
TP being used by the Arthur. It looks like he wants to get revenge for that game. As we see this play happening in mid.
E-set getting low. However, I'm curious to see what this Jormungandr ends up.
Oh, he does get his revenge.
Yeah, it looks like it might have been an overstay by the red team here. Maybe looking to protect the blue buffer invade as well. Now, this blue has to go the way.
Yeah. Do you see the Ragnarok being used? B is used up by the Wukong. I don't think that's gonna keep him alive as it doesn't, and Jay versus the world gets his revenge.
There we go. So we see some classic lower level smite back and forth fighting, right? Fighting for the sake of fighting here, as we have already seen both objectives, or the primary objective on the solo side of the map taken out in Pyromancer, right? So not a lot to fight over on this side of the map. I'm surprised that we haven't seen these ADCs getting ganked at all either. They are both very safe, but once they use their ultimates, they aren't nearly as safe as they are beforehand, right? So I'd expect to see a gank coming out of them to try and force this Gold Fury sooner than later, because at this point in the game, ESET and those backlines should be swinging extremely hard.
I agree. Circle of Protection is, as we know, one of the best objective secures in the game, and I'm really surprised they're not taking advantage of it, because like it's 15 minutes into the game now. Their Hunter has crit. They have an ESET. They have a FAP. They have a Fenrir that can shred objectives really hard if he's maxing his 2. I believe if they went for the gold, it would be a very easy clear. At least see a fight for counter hit.
Yeah, this ESET gang dove really hard. Looked like she was pretty far out of position at the enemy team's Scorpion, surrounded and swarmed like a fish by sharks, man. We saw the Nemesis ult come out for it, so it looks like it was 3 ults just for that ESET. Now, if the rest of 5Ds is able to get out for free or trade a kill out here, I think it was almost worth it for them.
Nice block by the Fenrir to block the charge King Arthur. Well, that might actually get him to come out. And it does, well, very low HP yet again. Classic Wukong with 1 HP.
It looks good luck to this Fafnir here now. Leap down.
He made a sacrifice, that's for sure. He made a sacrifice.
Yeah, and as a support player, don't you just love that? And now we see the ADCs finally getting involved on the map. Hachiman making a big rotation, and you know, he's not the one with the ult.
Though, unfortunately.
Yeah, Gold Fury is the side of the map that you'd want to see that rotation to, most likely. But at the same time, one thing to note is we do not see the Chernobyl ult used to join that fight. They must they must see all the farm left up on the left side of the map and feel like that's more important. And honestly, I don't blame them. I mean, look at that. They're catching up in net worth value as well, so that's a good thing for the side of Waffle House, and we'll have to see what happens here. I mean, this ESET's pressuring this mid-lane tower as well. If she can get this mid tower for essentially free, that's a pretty big deal, I would say. Looks like she might. She does, with those boosted auto attacks being the difference. Actually, isn't that funny how ESET passive is actually mattering in this scenario?
Yeah. You know, like, look, going back to like how the state of the game is going, you know, it's 13-7, but the gold is still shockingly even. And I believe that's the result of these teams not really going after the objective. I mean, they just, again, as you keep saying, fighting for the sake of fighting. I mean, 17 minutes, there's been one Pyromancer. The Gold Fury has basically just been ignored the whole game, and I just really don't understand that when they have such a good comp for taking care of these objectives.
Yeah, maybe the Oreo control is just be in Waffle House's favor at this point. But even then, Waffle House also has a very good combo.
Oh, what is going on here?
Now look at that.
Classic Yorm combo. Like, this is a solo tower dive, and you might actually get the kill. Aegis expended. Is that a teleport by the King Arthur there, I just thought?
It looks like it, and there's the ESET ult popped.
Oh,
Aegis popped as well.
Unfortunate miss by the Yorm.
Yes, but Nemesis is there to clean up. And it looks like she should get out, unless Arthur blinks onto her. Big ultimate by Nem to survive here. Good beads on Unchained. Let's see what happens here. King Arthur's getting shredded in the middle of the fight, and now Fafnir transform comes out, but Chernobog looks like he ulted in and immediately died. Both relics still up as well. That is
a huge Beyblade value over there.
Yes, this Arthur's spinning.
Massive damage by this King Arthur, just going to town on these people.
Yes, and now this Wukong with no mana. It looks like he'll have just enough to dash out soon. Oh, nice, wonderful Mez. Yorm is here.
Great damage here, though. Looks like he won't get the kill on the King Arthur once he lands, or maybe not.
Oh, and Arthur with the charged ult to escape now.
I don't think he can kill him. Arthur just has way too much mobility.
Oh, man.
Oh, well, that's
Arthur going back in, though, baiting the Yorm.
Oh, what a bait. That was tragic.
And Deicide for the side of 5Ds. 5 deaths for the side of Waffle House into 5Ds here. And now, I mean, they have to pull Gold
Yeah,
Fury,
okay,
right?
if
Like,
they don't go for this Gold Fury, this is like some criminal activity.
yeah, it has to be Gold Fury at this point. And one thing to note here, it looks like on the side of 5Ds, this Kumakarna has been sacrificing farm on his side, right? And being only level 11, despite his team, relatively speaking, having a ton more kills and a ton more pressure across the map, I think that that's a sign of a well-trained support, you know, not taking too much farm, especially being, again, no deaths at this point, too, so doing a fantastic job being that harasser that we talked about. And now, Pyromancer back on the map as well, and we're finally starting to see a little bit of a gold advantage in the favor of 5Ds after that deicide.
Them doing the classic drive-by in lane, not really knowing if that was the most effective play.
You know what? Sometimes you just it's a damage check, right? And that's it looks like that's what happened to her there.
There's trying to take down the newly buffed trebuchets. They are, wow, that is very
tanky. Yeah, look at that. That Spirit Ball last patch probably would have almost taken its whole health bar, but
oh, they're still going on that.
Yeah. That's a very
I'm
tanky
surprised they are not trying to like dive down this E-set right now. I guess they don't see the other members of the team killing environments. They will see it now as a Wukong will attempt a steal.
And he gets it.
That is just... Wow, you hate to see that. The classic magic cudgel 200 damage for this.
Is that Benji? And oh, look, uh-oh, before we talk about Benji,
actually, yeah.
E-set's getting run down here. Once again, this Jormungand, but looking like a decent pick actually into the E-set. Big knockup and follow-up damage by this Fenrir. Man, poor E-set getting bullied. This is what we talked about, though. Nemesis getting pulled into the air. He's in the King Arthur Excalibur's Wrath. Chernobog with the beads as well. Lots of relics being forced this fight, but Wukong going back in. Let's see if this Hachiman has any damage here.
He does appear to be hitting hard with the autos. We see the Fafnir all being forced out. Good stun by the King Arthur to make sure their Fafnir can't leave afterwards. You see Bjorn trying to return some damage, and oh, if that root hit, that would have been a dead Hachiman.
Yes, Hachiman ult is forced, and Yorm getting a triple kill in the other side of the fight that doesn't look like we were.
Chernobog going for the dive. What? What was that?
This is oh, and Hachiman. That's a huge shutdown on the Hachiman.
I like the idea, but it's just like I feel like the rest of the team weren't really like expecting that, and after Cherno died, they're like, well, I guess we gotta commit now. You know, kind of unfortunate that happened.
Yeah, so we see, I believe, 8 deaths in that fight across the board for both teams. And Waffle House all of a sudden is back in front. Can we see the gold graph actually? Because I believe they were behind by about 3,000 gold before that whole fight started. I mean, yeah, now look at this
what
swing.
A massive swing there. That is crazy.
It must have been the shutdowns because it's not even like they got. I believe obviously they got Pyromancer, but that's only worth around 2,000 gold between all 5 players. So I guess that is a 4,000 gold swing, but. Man, to be up 1,000 gold at this point after that is quite surprising. Again, that shutdown on the Hachiman must have helped out a lot. But we're at the 22-minute mark here, and if we could go back to the players real quick, let's look at the state of the game in terms of experience. We've got Arthur with a 1-level lead, Nemesis with a 2-level lead. This mid-jungle duo on the side of Waffle House is very, very far ahead. 5 total levels of experience ahead in this role. I believe that was stolen by Fenrir there, so well played to him. Chernobog ult is used to take a fight. 1v1 in mid.
It's a 1v1 in mid.
Looks like they're pushing this tower down. Nemesis, though, looking to get caught out here without no beads on her. Fenrir gonna come back instead and bite the Wukong who's ulting. I'm surprised to see Nemesis not gone on there by the Fenrir, considering her beads are still down. They should know that as well from the last fight.
Interesting fight as we see both ADCs not even in these fights. We see the Retribution being used by the Nemesis onto the King Arthur.
Yorm looking for this Hachiman here in the back line.
Aegis
forcing
extended.
Aegis.
One more?
Kobe, and no, piece of chicken, and he doesn't go in. I kid, of course, it's probably the smarter player. Wukong, though.
Not a good move by the Wukong. As he actually turns around to kill this King Arthur is 11 open into absolutely unbelievable play. That's just
Yeah, well, the caster's curse does happen there, but
nice double
that was
stun
a
there.
massive play by Arthur to survive at that point. That was a that was a long time coming, right, to see that Arthur finally fall, especially one with no beads into this comp. But again, his Beyblading is really strong into the side of 5Ds. I mean, or not, sorry, not 5Ds. Wow, Yorm just got blown up by the E-set. We're finally starting to see her damage come online. But Waffle House, again, what CC do they have to stop Arthur from Beyblading? Their Jormungandr only has knockups, which he can immune with 2 of his abilities. They've got a root that's also immuned by Arthur on the Chernobog. I mean, Hachiman ulting in to secure this kill onto the poor Chernobog here. But yeah, it doesn't look like this Arthur is going to continue to run rampant and run out of control until they either start saving Fafnir stuns for him or something else. It's going to be tough.
Especially, and I've been wanting to mention this, he has almost more damage than both the carries on 5Ds combined. Like, this man is going absolutely crazy. Just purchased that Bluestone brooch as well, so you know he's going to be doing tons of damage in these
And he's
teams
going
right
sicko mode, I'd say, even at this point. Yeah, now the Bluestone
yeah,
coming online, and it looks like he's going into that Serrated Edge, which will help him, or not Serrated Edge, sorry, brain part there. Spectral armor, yeah, it's a spectral serrated, same word, right? To help himself deal with that damage that will be coming out from the Chernobog now, who does have Deathbringer and a full crit build at this point in the game. So, we do notice now Gold Fury going the way of 5Ds. That should be a decent gold swing back to them, and especially if Pyromancer does end up getting traded back by the Waffle House. However, we do see now the Oni Fury waves pushing on all 3 waves here. We'll see what 5Ds can do with that pressure that'll be created by them. The waves were stacked pretty favorably for Waffle House, so I don't expect towers to be lost off of this, but we'll see if there's any response. Jormungandr getting his red buff. We may be able to see a little bit of an ambush here by the Fenrir. Looking for someone to pick up and feed to his team. Let's see what happens. Looks like Arthur's backing though as well, so I don't. Maybe we'll wait and see some fighting happen in about 15 seconds or so.
Arthur TP's back in with the full spectral armor. Now he's going to be way harder to kill, even through all that tankiness. So he's going to be one to look out for in this team fight. He's going to be the one that's going to have to make the big impact plays here for sure.
Especially with Mantle of Discord as well. I mean, just when you think you've got him, he's gonna glow yellow, and he'll be absolutely fine and get out. It's gonna be very difficult to lock him down.
Is that a Gladiator shield on a Nemesis?
That is a Glad shield on them. I mean, I guess she does have 4 damaging abilities. You know.
I guess it kind of procs with her ult. I mean, she can ult a tank and then get that extra value on the Glass Shield. I think it's still a very bizarre pick, especially considering the build that she's opting for, which is more of like a shred build. You're not looking to like one-shot people with that. I think there would have been better items that she could have built as we see the breakdown over here.
Yes, we noticed Fenrir ult beads being forced by this Yorm ult, so well played by them. Now we've got both backline kind of devastated right now in terms of health. Nemesis goes in, gets picked up.
Nope, late beads over there.
Late beads. Does she live though? Does she have her shield? She does not. Hachiman uses ult to chase him down, and now Fenrir, though, the next target in this fight. So both junglers down, mid laner down as well for the side of Waffle House. Hachiman getting Beybladed, well, no, that's his own team. What am I saying?
Getting Beybladed, and he's dead.
And Chernobog just got King Arthur.
I was just left alone back there. You can't just let that happen. I mean, there's not really much they can do about it, but still, I would have at least liked to see an effort.
Oh, big cripple. Well played by the Arthur there as well to catch the Sun Wukong dash and leave it. Oh, and the taunt spam.
Versus the world. I guess username does check out in this scenario.
Yeah. Oh man, we love to see that. That is at least I do. It means for a much more fun set. But it looks like here with a 4-1 swing in terms of kills, 5Ds are going to take this Fire Giant unless Fafnir comes in and
Legendary Hammer of Destiny will not hits the Koopa.
Yep. Oh well. So now let's take a step back here and look at this. The 5Ds are up 2,000 gold now after that Fire Giant. Most of them are starting to hit level 20. Fenrir could use a little bit of help getting there, but very interesting. I'd be curious to see the XP graph at this point, if you could just do that real quick for me.
That's the XP needed.
There we go. Even on XP, so that's very interesting considering, again, it looks like Kumba is pulling a Neilma special here, to reference that Pro League player who just is allergic to farm at 30 minutes being only level 16, even with his team ahead now. I'm sure that that's part of their plan on this Fire Giant is to mitigate that, being that far behind. But now, as we see 5D starting to, the gold starting to swing in their favor. Unless Hachiban does get caught out here by the Nemesis.
Caught out here?
Or is it the biggest bait of all time?
No.
Nemesis getting ulted. Does Arthur get in there as well?
No bees on them either. This is a dead Nemesis right here.
Chernobog doing his best to help out with the roots that he can, but now he's going to get chased down too. Oh man, he's going to have to... Oh, who's he going to pick? Who do you land on here?
Oh, he lands into the enemy jungle. Not sure if that was the smartest play as he gets picked up.
I suppose he was... The only logic there is to pull him as far away from your Phoenix as possible, because at this point, 5v3 for another 35 seconds. Like, what do they do here to stop this push, especially with the Trebuchet coming in as well? Jormungandr having to ult away as well, so now...
He's trying to clear the minions, so they're going to be slightly delayed.
Yeah, but
he doesn't clear the minions.
Yeah, they've already got a full wave though, so now we will see 20 seconds of a 5v3 siege where the mid laner does not have an ultimate. Well, this Sun Wukong has a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, that Phoenix is going to go down any second now as it does. We see the Somersault Claw being forced out here.
Now, that Trebuchet though, still doing damage, still existing too, still full health at this point, so I expect that the 5D should be able to just continue to wipe towers off of this map. I mean, now we finally see Nemesis back up with both relics as well. The Chernobog back up, although he does not have ult, he should have it back any second now. We'll be very, very curious to see if they even bother trying to defend themselves here at the right tower, tier 2 tower.
Yeah, I just don't think it's worth defending the tier 2 at the moment. I mean, the 5Ds, they're going to be able to sweep all the objectives on the map off, essentially, almost every single tower. Gold Fury is probably going to be next on their agenda. Pyromancer as well. They are going to have tons of gold on this next van. I really don't think it's worth it to defend a tier 2.
Yep, and as we look at the Fire Giant timer, I believe there is still a solid minute and a half at least in Fire Giant duration for this 5D's team, so they should just get this neutral objective for free. I mean, man, this is starting to snowball a little bit with that 6,000 gold swing, I believe, on the Fire Giant push here at this point, just about. Especially now that they pick up the Gold Fury as well. Looking for invades as well. I mean, if they can step up and take away another Trebuchet as well, that'll be huge for the side of 5Ds, preparing for the next Fire Giant that I assume they'll be going for here. And look at that, there it goes. They do get the mannequin, or obelisk, thank you, obelisk finished. Now they've got that Trebuchet to potentially look to push down this right tower, which I believe they're going to do without it.
I mean, they don't really need it at this point. King Arthur is probably going to take at least 50 of these shots before he goes down. It's just absurdly tank at this point.
Yep, and as we see, continue to look at builds, it looks like on the side of 5Ds, all starter items have been upgraded. Pretty standard items all around. I guess it is weird to see alternate timeline, but on an E-set who's getting dove this hard, I think it makes sense. I mean, that was their big win con at this point, Waffle House's was blowing up that E-set before she was able to really do a second rotation of her abilities. But now, they're going to have to kill her twice. Especially now, look at her building into defense as well, probably heading into a mantle or a spirit robe. She does have full pen, 40% flat pen online, and a Reaver as well. She must be hitting hard.
And, you know, we haven't really mentioned the Hunters too much this game, but, you know, the Hachiban on the side of 5D, he's been having a very silent but very good game over 6-1 and 9 as opposed to the 0-5 and 7 on the other side. He's going to be one to look out for in these fights. He's going to be one that's going to be mostly shredding these objectives. Very important that he stays alive to win the game for 5Ds.
Yes, so now as we sit here, we're expecting. I mean, how does 5Ds initiate this fight? Do they initiate with a Blink Arthur? Do
I
they
don't think they
initiate
need to initiate.
with
There's
their
minions pushing down the other lane. I think they can just wait here, wait for someone to back and clear the waves. As we see the Chernobog looking to do that. So they can just kind of just chill here for a bit.
Yes, they can, and that is a very good point. The Chernobog does have an ultimate to get back into this fight, though, so that is one thing to pay attention to here. Let's see if they pull Fire Giant. It is an enhanced Fire Giant at this point as well. Will be very hard for them to burn down. They are pulling it. Looks like it's at about 70% HP here. They're trying to force that Chernobog ult. Does he ult in?
You do see the ult being expended. We see the Hachiman kind of alone in the back. Nemesis going in for the retribution. She's kind of diving on her own, though, so she'll have to back out.
Fenrir ult is missed. Hachiman and is that Wukong trading autos on the side in the middle of the lane. Hachiman ult is forced
very
away.
Low.
Does Yorm finish the chase? We'll have to see. Hachiman looking to lifesteal off of him here and get some crits. I mean, this
could be a turnaround.
With those extended autos at range, he is getting flanked though by the Nemesis, who unfortunately though does not see that he's healed this much up. Big auto cancels coming out though. The Aegis killing. The Aegis from Hachiman killing the Nemesis. What a turnaround there to survive and get that kill. Death's Embrace, just too much sustain built in with the Devos as well. Oh, that's a huge turn. And we look at the left Phoenix going down as well. This is going to be tough. Arthur still doing his thing, running down. I mean, he's still full health at this point in the team fight. He didn't even teleport back in. He hasn't teleported back in, Johnny. Look at this. This is ridiculous. And Fenrir bringing the...
Fenrir getting killed by the tower shot, but we do see Jay versus the world cleaning up that one. You know, I mentioned it before the fight that, you know, Hachiman was going to play a big part, and I was right. You know, Caster's curse broken. He didn't get you.
And look at this. We see the Easthead ult cast it out, and Fafnir just has to sit and watch. I mean, that's a wonderful way for 5Gs to end that game. Fantastic individual plays by the Hachiman. That Arthur laugh spamming it up as well. It looked like I suppose he had the Fenrir with him, but he was zoning the backline and the Fafnir from the fight for Waffle House as well. So that was just well executed last fight by 5Ds and a fantastic individual play by Weeb since 1998. Man, you know, that's a very long time. That's 24 years if my math is correct. You know, you'd think I'd know my own birth year. Yeah. But let's look at some of these stats real quick. One thing that I noticed right away that jumps off the page, both junglers struggling in the damage department. I mean, Nemesis with only 17,000, Fenrir with 13, but getting the win. I believe they both built a little bit more hybrid builds. I wonder if that Glad Shield, if it was replaced by something else for the Nemesis, would have made her a little bit more likely to get that kill on the Hachiman there late game. Because it is very hard to play tank Nem at this level. What do you think? What else stands out to you?
Yeah, I just think it's... I'll be honest, I think the Glad Shield pick was the kind of troll of the Nem. I mean, I get that she wants more of the physical tankiness while also having defense, but, you know, I think Berserker Shield would have been good there. Would have been a better pick there. We do see that she did sell her Golden Blade for a Spectral, but I believe if she did that earlier, I believe she might have been able to make a bit more of an impact early on. I mean, like, they were having trouble killing this Hachi the whole game, only having died once, I believe, to a fight somewhere in the mid lane. I mean, it's like, we were talking a lot about the Arthur, but the Hachi was making a ton of plays early during this game, and while they just weren't able to dive him effectively.
Yeah, now one thing I'm noticing now too, Yorm with 36,000 player damage. They may not have led the kill charts, but damn, they were packing the punch. That's for sure. I mean, again, Arthur topping the game with 44,000, but the Yorm just right behind there with 36. That's quite incredible. One thing to note before we get off this page as well, I'm going to shame Jay versus the world. One ward in a 36-minute game? Come on, buddy.
Classic Soul. I mean, we were comparing him to Benji. You know, Benji also doesn't like the
Yeah,
wards,
that's Benji.
Yeah, I mean, what's next? He's going to die to a jungle camp next game?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I think we are going to be getting right into Game 2 here. Is that correct? All right, beautiful. So let's get ourselves into Game 2 now. We see 5Ds with the 1 second, or with the 1-0 lead now. I think we are getting right into picks and bans, and I expect, unless Waffle House has an Arthur player of their own, which I'm pretty sure they do, and Patrocles, I expect that Arthur to be the priority pick or ban in that slot, because I mean they just were dominant that game. They looked unstoppable at certain points as well. What do we expect? I wonder what we expect coming out as well, though. That Nemesis was heavily prioritized by the side of Waffle House. We'll have to see if that gets picked up so early as well. Considering I don't expect Virtually to think that their game is ruined, but at the same time, it is hard to bounce back and pick the same character that you struggled with. The game before. It's a tough mental thing.
Yeah, I agree. I will expect that King Arthur will probably be banned very early or picked very early by Waffle House to make sure that Jay versus the world doesn't verse the world again and come out on top.
Yes, so now we will see. It does look like the first pick will be the side of Waffle House. Uh, with Pat. Yep, it is Woofle House. getting, getting to pick first. So we'll see if they end up locking in the Arthur. I wonder even if 5D's respect bans the Arthur out of the hands of Patrocles, knowing that he is capable as well. Now that Kumba first ban as well, that tells you that they were sick of dealing with that character. We did not give enough credit, I don't think, to that Kumba play in the first game either. Lots of quality mezzes and ultimates to force the enemy team to play around it. I mean, at that point, I agree with them. At this banning that Kumba, force them to play something different, right?
Yeah, I mean it's just classic support life. You know, you do everything and then you don't get appreciated. You know, it's just like they signed up for this when they decided to play support for their team, so it's okay.
Yeah, as a support player yourself, right? You know that's just the deal that you're dealing
Oh
with.
yeah.
So yeah, we see Freya and Baka banned out on the side of 5Ds. I don't know if there was anything that really came up last game. I think they are happy to sit there and say, run it back, pick everything the same way. We're not worried. I mean, the Sun Wukong was looking good for Patrocles, so was the Yor mid, but not enough that it couldn't have been countered either. I mean, they once the team fights really started, it seemed like 5Ds was very comfortable taking those 5v5s and just winning outright.
Yeah, I agree. They don't really have too much to look out for in this game. I mean, unless they're looking to pick the E set again. I mean, but I just don't think it's worth it to ban the Yorm. I mean, they were making plays early on, but just late game, just not enough impact. As we see the King Arthur being taken by Waffle House immediately, making sure that Jay doesn't get to run it back.
And now the King Arthur getting locked in. So now, do we see the salty run back, but in reverse order? Where do we see 5Ds prioritize the Nemesis pick? I expect them to pick a jungler here, considering that there are quite a few left up. There is still Mercury available, who's very popular down in this division. Nemesis is still on the board. Characters like hard carries like Bastet as well weren't picked last game. Now I think about it, I mean, we'll have to see what happens here. Lots of
Yeah.
hunters still available as well. The Chernobog didn't have the best of games last game, but that still is another character that, I mean, again, at the SPL level was getting played in 3 different roles. You'd expect these players to prioritize them in some way.
Yeah, I agree. One thing we forgot last game was that Waffle House seemed like they really wanted to ban the Kukulin early on, as we see it's left open now. And that matchup does favor the Kukulin, in my opinion, more than the Wukong matchup, so that might get picked up here for Jay. And nope, we see the Cleo being picked instead, I believe, for solo lane, as we see the Nemesis being locked in as well.
Yeah, so that's a good point. The Arthur Cucullin matchup that could go either way, especially considering they were left open. But yeah, we do see Cleo and Nemesis getting locked in. So unless we're having some more funky picks here, I don't expect to see
Cleo
Cleo
mid.
mid in this. Yeah, Cleo mid or Cleo ADC in this league. I don't expect it. So Nemesis Cleo locked in. Geb is the response. Man, if I was the Nemesis, I'd be very
I'd be
annoyed because
crying.
yeah, because Geb just ruins your fun. You are not allowed to dive anybody. As a jungler in general, I would be fine if Geb vanished from the game. And we see Mercury getting locked in. So, I wonder if the jungler uh for what's their name? Why is my brain having it?
Waffle
Oh,
House.
Waffle House. Yes, thank you. If the jungler for Waffle House said to them, "I want to play Mercury, but if they pick Geb, I'm not playing." And then they said, why not both? And so they pick up the Geb Mercury combo. That is a lot of beads burning potential already picked up by the side of Waffle House at this point in the game.
Yeah, I agree. They're really trying to take advantage of that. I don't. I Geb, you say that he's very annoying. That is true as a Geb player. He just makes any jungler hate their life. But he's also quite susceptible to other supports. Like there's a lot of supports that counter him. For example, Ganesh, he just can cancel out half his abilities. Frapperman is all as we see. Wow, look at me predicting that. Wow, go me.
Well done with the Ganesh call out. That's a really good timing. Now, one thing I will say though, at this point in the draft, once again, it looks like 5Ds does not have a lot of CC. They've got a Ganesh, a hard CC, I should say, right? They've got lots of slows. They've got lots of damage as well coming from Cleo, Nem, and Ganesh. But they've got one essentially a stun or grab into a knockup in Ganesh, and that's about it in terms of hard CC. So how are they going to slow down this Mercury, who is slow immune as well? Assuming he uses his 2 properly, how are they going to stop him and peel him away from the backline here? We see the ESET and Tiamat bans coming out so far. Respect ban coming out from the side of Waffle House on that ESET. Now, I wonder if we did not see a Yorm ban here, so they are daring them to pick up Jormungandr one more time. Poseidon being the final ban as well, so we're seeing a lot of mages getting banned out in this set. Man, those mid laners have been crying about how bad their role is, but look at that. They've got 6 bans in this set. What's pick stands out to you here? What do you think the side of 5D's picks here?
Yeah, see, I would say obviously Jing's very good into Mercury as she can just dash away, but she is banned right now, so I'm not really sure what they can pick here for hunters. Now, one thing do have to know is that as we discussed it, we see the Izanami being locked in. As we know, Geb's passive does make him a lot harder to kill with crits, so we might not see the crit build coming out from Izanami. We might see her going towards the attack speed build instead, but maybe she decides that the crit's just too good to pass up. We don't know.
We'll have to see. I mean, so now what's left? We assume at least what's left for 5Ds is to pick up, pardon me, not 5Ds, Waffle House to pick up their hunter and their mage, both of them getting to last pick in both games, I believe, actually too. So that's
Oh.
very interesting to see the front line prioritize here. So Chang'e Huoyi, the couple themselves,
They have to
of
pick
the
the
Chinese
skins.
pantheon, yeah, they must. I mean, yeah, really, they should be picking the skins that allow themselves to twin each other here. It doesn't look like they will be, but those are some interesting picks. Again, I guess another set of beads burning capabilities out of the Huoyi. Lots of area damage between Chang'e and Huoyi as well. Follow up on a Gebolt or something else here, but I'll be curious to see what the mid laner ends up picking here out of the side of 5Ds, because what do you pick that feels safe into this comp? I mean, there's so much dive here with the Geb, King Arthur, and Mercury, and then you're gonna probably have a Chang'e blink ulting you. You're gonna have a Hoi dropping the Sunbreaker down on top of you. I mean, I would not want to play mid lane this game.
Yeah, I agree. There's just so much diving onto. You have to pick someone incredibly safe. As they run out of time here, so they'll have to pick someone. It's gonna be the Nox. Okay, that's interesting. I don't hate it though, because Nox is very good into the King Arthur and the Geb. It just prevents them from being able to do almost anything. It also stops the Chang'e from using her too, which I actually really like this Nox pick. I think it was very smart of
Well,
5Ds to pick this.
it is interesting because Nox does usually get countered out by Geb, because Geb can just cleanse the root, and allow them to escape the damage combo. But if the Geb themselves is the person getting hit, or the Nox is using it for peel, then I could definitely see this being a good pick here. I mean, again, no one likes to dive a Nox, right? Because it's just you gotta sit there and juke until that root comes out. We'll have to see. So we do notice that it is the Cleo solo, so there is no nothing too funky coming out of either picks or either teams here. They are all playing the roles they are normally, you expect to see those gods in. We still do only see 2 hunters, although we do see 2 junglers that can build crit and are good at auto attacking as well. Seeing those prioritized heavily on this patch still, so that's interesting to see. And the big issue I can see happening here for the side of 5Ds is what CC do they have that's hard other than Nox's root? They have almost no hard CC to force beads, so the Nox combo is going to have to be hitting on pretty much every single cast in order for her damage to actually be confirmed or followed up on at this point, right?
Yeah, I agree. The Nox is gonna have to make a lot of big plays here. You know, we have a Ganesh knockup, we have a Izanami silence, we got a Cleo silence as well. You know, there's just not really too much CC that's like crippling enough to justify burning beads for most of the time. So yeah, it was gonna have to rely on the Nox 1-2 combo a lot of times to burn these beads, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we will have to see because again, there's just so much. There's a ton of damage on the side of 5Ds. A lot of area damage as well with the Izanami, Cleo, and Ganesh ults, and Nox ult even for that matter is a big AoE. But where do they burn relics from? What do they use other than essentially Nemesis getting in there and forcing those Aegises or forcing something else out? How do they burn these relics? That's a very good question. I think that I guess you initiate the fights as well with Ganesh ult to force Chang'e to use her immunity or someone else along those lines. But um, meanwhile, on the side of Waffle House, I mean, you've got your Merc ult that you can engage with. You've got Chang'e blink ult. You've got Geb blink ult. You've got Arthur charged blink ult. You've got so many different tools to really facilitate your team and your damage and to allow the Hou Yi to free cast in the backline. Well, it'll be very interesting to see how they coordinate their dive. I mean, because again, the Waffle House side just screams dive. I look at their 5 characters. Those are 5 gods that just want to get in there and kill you before you can kill them. Even the Hou Yi included isn't one of those sit in the back and free cast kind of gods. He's best played when you're leaping in, so we'll have to see. I expect a lot of fighting early on in this game. I'm never going to predict, I don't think, in a Challenger Division game anymore. I'm never going to predict that first blood won't happen before 10 minutes or that there won't be a ton of fighting going on. But what do you think, Johnny? Where do you see pressure being established on the map?
I think there's gonna be a lot of fighting in this duo lane. We see like Ganesh, Izanami, Hou Yi are both very aggressive hunters, unlike last game. So I think last game, while they were playing very passive, I think this game you will be seeing a lot more action in the duo lane.
Yeah, we will probably see. I mean, I would imagine the Hou Yi coming out as well, hoping to have something, to prove that Owen whatever performance from last game isn't an indicator of how they played. We'll want to see them, especially in the counter matchup, that they should, again, early game, the Izanami obviously has clear pressure, but being able to avoid out her stealth and stun her and combo her the way that Hou Yi is able to, usually that you see that matchup trade in his favor. We'll have to see what they end up picking or what they end up doing in this matchup. I expect a ton of pressure, though. Ganesh and Izanami should be almost certainly looking for first purple invade, so I'll be curious to see if on the side of Waffle House they decide to sacrifice that first purple and then invade elsewhere on the map, such as a blue buff or even a speed invade or something along those lines, or if they decide to try and fight it and contest it. We'll have to wait and see. Does anything stand out to you in terms of builds as we see them start to be built right now?
They are pretty typical. We do see in the ADC category, the Izanami deciding to go for the Gilded Arrow instead of the Leather Cow by the Hou Yi, which means that she will have no sustain going into lane. Very interesting. So I feel like, yeah, no sustain is very intriguing to me with that build as well. Do you think she's going for an Ichaival build?
She might be. It could be an Atalanta's Rush as well. I've seen people using that as a bridge item, but and it also might just be her acknowledging that I'm not gonna have to use these health pots right early on in game. I'm gonna be able to clear the wave before Hou Yi and Geb can really even put any pressure on me, and on the wave. So maybe that's what she's thinking here. We do notice the Nem, instead of going I, is going Bumbas as well. Looks like she's going the pen build rather than the attack speed build that the Nem from last game went as well. So we'll have to see Mercury going Blink, and so that means to me that he's going to be looking to be the initiator and be active early on, because I know I as a player much prefer going Beads Aegis on Mercury, because I feel like it is not your job to start fights. It's your job to finish them and to come in and end them. You know, you want to be able to survive the damage and the uh, the counterplay that the enemy team tries to provide on you, and that's what Beads and Aegis does, right? Whenever you ult in, we'll have to see. Again, I expect that I'd be surprised. This Geb even walking up this far. I mean, look at that. The wave is already
Oh,
dead.
this is not good.
Geb's going to be in trouble here. Might have to burn Shell to survive. I mean, this is the classic Izanami Ganesh level 1 clear. It looks like they live. They live and did not have their Shell Force, so that is unfortunate. Izanami taking a lot of poke as well, so like you talked about, not having that sustain built in from that cowl or from a tier 1 of an item. We'll have to see. A solo kill. Was that a solo kill? It was a solo kill out of Patroclus on the Arthur into the Cleo.
You know he's feeling himself from that one.
Yes, he is, and I am sure there were plenty of taunt spams as well. I mean, even if we can get a replay of that, that would be good for the. That would be fantastic to see. I'm so curious to see what happened over there because. I guess Arthur is just the broken one here, right? That must be feeling good for Patroclus.
I'm guessing it was from the level 2. I'm guessing Jay decided to not opt for the escape and decided instead to either go for the 1 or the 2, and I'm guessing that's how they were able to get. As we see, almost another kill here in the solo lane. Wow, Patroclus is not happy about how the game went last game. He's really trying to make it up here.
Wow, yeah, he is, and now with that pressure, we'll have to see if he goes for. Looks like he's not going for an invade on the first blue buff here.
Oh no.
Geb getting dove here. Still
no
Shell down.
Shell was expended sometime during that.
And now we're seeing the classic Izanami and Ganesh pressure in this duo lane.
I mean, that's just one of the classic mistakes of Smite. You know, don't try to fight Izanami into wave early. It's just, it just never ends well. It's just, you know, you just can't fight it. You just gotta let them get level 2 and just move on with your life. You can't
Interesting to see them not opting for the invade. Maybe they had the Mercury being called out on the red buff, but I still think you look at Izanami and Ganesh, they insta clear that buff and then can just get out with their dashes. I'm surprised to see them back up here because that feels like Waffle House got away with murder there. I guess they do have pressure in solo side, but still, that's I would have fully expected to see that buff evaded.
I guess, you know, in the recent past, they did make the purple buff a lot tankier in these early invades. So, you know, I guess Izanami Ganesh could have still had the damage, but it would have been a risky bet either way, in my opinion. I think it's okay by them to not make that decision, as we see potentially another solo kill. We see Jay have the run back.
Jay hitting level 5 before the Arthur does, so that level 5 spike was enough, and of course Kleena gets 2 ults.
Nice
once
bounce
she
by the
level
whole
5.
over there.
I mean, why wouldn't Kleena get
ganking?
Oh, with the Geb shield to save the Hoi Yi, cleanse him of that slow, but I
might have sacrificed himself here. Yeah, that's a dead support. You know, we love to see it.
Yes, and now Mercury getting chased out by Cleo. Oh no, Cleo. What a fun character, isn't it, guys? Seeing Kleena locked in solo lane. Everyone's favorite. Looks like Virtually tried to use his ult on her, but must have either missed or just not had the damage to follow up here.
Oh, we see Jay almost dead once again. Wow, this is a crazy solo lane that's going on right now. It's not even been 5 minutes, and there's already been 3 deaths on that side of the map.
Yeah, and we haven't even seen invades off of it either, which is very interesting. Like, no, you know, again, usually when you see a gank happening on the solo side of the map, it is centered around back timers or blue buff timers, but we have not seen any successful invades across the map, which is why we see 5Ds ahead at this point by about 700 gold. So First Blood bounty, I believe, went to the Arthur, but since then it has been 3 kills to none for 5Ds to allow them to take this slight.
You see the purple buff attempting to be invaded by the Ganesh. I don't think that is going to happen anytime soon.
It's funny, we see two mages in mid who really struggle to clear waves early on too, so it'll be interesting to see if they rotate early. One thing I've noticed Sean do as well, he's done this both games so far. He's gone tier 1 lost artifact to at the start of the game for that early mana sustain, but then gone into his next 2 or 3 items before building, or before finishing that item off.
Interesting.
I think that is very, very interesting. I think they fit. I think he did a Rada to Hootie last game actually in that slot, which is why he had that 40% pen build very early on. It looks like he's going into.
I feel like that's a Soul Reaver potentially, or maybe even a Thoth.
Yeah, it could. I would assume it must be a Book of Thoth, right? Because you don't go Reaver this early, but we'll have to see. Who knows? One thing we do notice that Ichaival that you shouted out earlier for Izanami does get picked up. Hold on, fight going on in mid here.
Hangar 2 being expended this early is kind of sad, but we do see the fight separating, so it won't really amount to anything.
So we do see the Nemesis going into the Jotun's Wrath build. So again, she's going for that full cooldown, ability-based build. Mercury has his Golden Blade online, so he's ready to start farming away. Solo lane, as we expected, we have an Arthur that's almost certainly building into the Sovereignty versus the Cleanup, building into that slow here like she does. Arthur getting run at here. Ganesh using his dash to get closer to try to silence him, but it does not look like it will matter.
Interesting choice not ult there by the Ganesh. I feel like that would have fallen. Oh, that is unfortunate miss by the Mercury. We do see the Ganesh ult being used here. I don't really think they have much kill potential. I say that as the gets ulted. Nice Mercury ult.
That was a fantastic combo. That was a King Arthur ult into the Mercury ult into the Geb ult, but is it all for nothing?
There's not enough damage.
There's just not enough damage. This Arthur, it barely gets out, but Cleo with that lifesteal early on from Soul Eater, even without it being fully stacked.
Oh my gosh, she's going for the kill and she gets it. I think she's gonna die as a result though, but what a crazy play.
That's the kill goes to the Geb, so I guess they won't be too upset about that.
I don't know if that's worth it though. I feel like they could have just gone for the blue buff. I really don't know if that's like the best play there.
Yeah, when you're up 2 levels as well, I mean, yeah, the blue buff invade is no longer going to happen, and now you've given that, look at that Geb now. That Geb must be pretty high up in the value charts.
He's gotten more farmed than the Kumakarna did all game last game, you know?
Yeah.
We said the Izanami proxy farming towers here, you know, just the classic ranked experience.
Oh,
we do see she may be punished by this. Oh, missed stun, unfortunate. We do see
continued rotation though coming out from the mid lane. It looks like they are gonna chase her out to that buff. So this Hou Yi though is giving up 2 full waves to tower at this point,
yeah,
and Izanami gets out, and the ultimate from Chang'e is expended to try to catch up to her. That is not something you like to see, but that is 2 full waves lost by Hou Yi for nothing. I mean, there's even in levels at this point, but I expect them to fall behind. Massive Nox silence. Wow. Lots of damage coming out here. A 1-for-1 at this point. Carry does die in exchange for the jungler on the enemy side here, but Geb is all but dead as well. Now that Nox Ganesh ult combo was pretty strong, I have to say. That was I would be very, very frustrated trying to play into that.
Oh, we see a trade here in the Soul lane. Wow, I wonder what happened there.
Almost certainly a Cleo tower diving.
Relentless this match.
Yeah, it must have been a Cleo tower diving. The Arthur. Yeah, because I don't understand how an Arthur could kill the Cleo with a fully stacked Soul Eater and Breastplate at this point in the game without it. You know, something along those lines must have been happening. We do see the Arthur going the standard Sovereignty into most likely Glad Shield build. I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll go Berserkers, but I'm expecting that Glad Shield to come out here. And we do see Nox stacking Book of Thoth as well. That's a tough item to try to build on Nox, I feel like, right? Like one of our biggest struggles is last hitting those wave minions. Mercury going on the Nemesis here. Nem using both dashes. Geb with the knockup.
Perhaps?
Oh, big silence by Nox, but does not matter as the Mercury blinks in and does hit the Made You Look to take out that Nemesis there. So Nemesis going into that Hydra's build as well, looking straight into those, looking for those auto cancel opportunities, right? Looks
Yeah, I
like
mean,
in terms of player damage right now, obviously we're seeing that brawl in solo lane and in the side lanes as well. Look at that. The damage is pretty much even across the charts in that respect. If we could see player net worth, if you don't mind, real quick, because overall, everybody is even on the map. I mean, Waffle House with a 100 gold lead at this point is hardly any change. I mean, the biggest lead at this point is probably in the ADC role, where Izanami is up 600 gold on the poor Hou Yi, but to counteract that, we see Nemesis 500 gold down on the Mercury, who's coming for a gank right now. No one saw it. Don't worry. We didn't see anything there, so don't worry about it, Arthur. And now the Nemesis blinking in. Arthur, I believe,
this is catastrophic for Waffle House here. As they just did not. Oh, Merc does blink out though. That's nice. Yeah, it's kind of just
blink up
walking
again.
around.
Wow.
Just, I think he's wondering what happened there.
Yeah, this is tough for Waffle House as they look to gank, but the Nemesis does come in with that ultimate. This is this is pretty. As someone in chat just put it, this is pretty scuffed gameplay. I gotta say, it's we're getting to the point where it's that endless brawl that we've been talking about, right, for a little while. I mean, what is Geb doing all the way up here? Or what, if I should say, what are Nem and
Rolled
Ganesh?
in to secure a single small harpy. I mean,
I respect it. Hey, man, if it works, it works.
he's this is some interesting gameplay.
You see both neutral objectives up. Gebel, or Ganesh is used. Oh man, Mercury just got completely trapped by that Ganesh killer. Well played by only one nut to do so. Arthur is in trouble here, or is he? Oh, he is.
No,
He is in trouble. He does not have any magical procs, and I believe that Nox combo did hit him there, doing lots of damage at this point. Well, I shouldn't say that. 2,000 player damage, but 600 of it definitely came in that fight with that Nox combo, so good for them there. Yeah, Johnny, or realize, I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what to say at this point.
Like, this is trying to like commentate like a 1500 MMR game right now.
I wouldn't say it's that. It's just weird. It feels almost like a ranked game, you know. It feels like they're everybody's running it down.
1500 ranked game.
No, come on. Yeah, you don't have to be that mean. I just think that again, we're seeing neutral objectives not really prioritized, which I suppose makes sense. But when you have a Nox as your mid laner, it's really hard to do these objectives, right?
You have a Nemesis and a Izanami and a Ganesh ult.
And a Ganesh and a Cleo as well. So you do. I would expect 5Ds to be prioritizing these neutral objectives a little bit earlier. I mean, we see the Scorpion on their side of the map at least has not been taken down. That's actually the Waffle House Scorpion, so I stand corrected. And Waffle House too, I mean, I guess they do, again, Chang'e not known for her objective DPS, but Hou Yi and Mercury, they blow up these neutral objectives. We'll have to see.
Oh, nice Merkle. That was almost perfectly timed on that gameplay.
Good. So he does force the Nox beads there. Nox now relicless for the presumed next team fight. We'll have to see if they can take advantage at this point.
Again, might get caught out here.
That makes her super susceptible to a Nox ult, or not Nox ult, a Chang'e ult, or something else. Well, we'll have to see. Mercury getting gone on. This is... Every jungler just loves this part of the game, where the enemy team has a Cleo solo, and they just run around your jungle and harass you, and there's almost nothing you can do. I mean, look at this Cleo just getting in there, just getting active.
Oh, that was a very
Oh, that's tough. That's a tough thing to escape. I mean, that was a
and he's gonna get killed too. Oh, maybe not. I mean, that is just so unfair. King Arthur doesn't get out of that, but that's tragedy and a half there from that play.
So I believe we see the Nox fall. It must have been from that Chang'e ultimate going in on her. This Ganesh ult trapping lots of players in, but there's no follow-up as everybody else is dead on the map. Leo
What does that mean? I think they can keep fighting this.
Yeah, Izanami does dash in. That was cool. I did not know that she was a player, like, you know, like Phantom Shell there. She was able to walk through the Geb there when she dashed. I had no idea that she was not collidable, I guess, while invisible. But we see them at least taking one of the neutral objectives in the Oreos.
Very crucial.
Well, oh, I stand correct. Oh, there it goes. So we'll have to see. Again, it looks like, relatively speaking, the farm is pretty even on the side of, on the duo side of the map. No, there's no deficit like there was last time with the Kumba, only one note, staying even with his counterpart at this point. It seems like other than in solo lane, there is no noticeable lead at this point. I mean, we see it as we see Hoi Yi pressuring out this Izanami. The cavalry is on his way, but it is his cavalry as well. It looks like he's trying to bait the Izanami into stepping up into this fight.
Yeah, you know, and we mentioned at the start of the game how Izanami's build started off with no lifesteal. It's been nearly 16 minutes, and she still has no lifesteal, so she can't heal up off the wave. So this buff is not going to be secured. Nice bees by the Izanami there, almost perfect timing, but unfortunately it's not enough.
Yeah, she does die to that Mercury ult from the... oh, and do we see a Kobe? Sean-tastic with the ultimate from the Nox to take out the Mercury there. And that's where I wonder if Dagus is worth it on the Merc, because he got in there, did his damage, and got out. This is a very dead Chang'e.
Unless they miss all their abilities.
Oh my, no one's watching. Oh no.
No.
Caster's curse for Crackle there. That's my fault, buddy. You know what? I owe you an emo chest.
You didn't make him miss his buttons. It's okay.
No, I certainly must have done something there, because that was that's tough. That's about as bad.
Now we just see the raid boss running down the whole. There's really nothing to do here. Oh, that was. And we see
good Aegis. Good Aegis. Geb shield coming up soon, but not quite fast enough. We'll have to see. Does he have shield? No shield yet. I guess I was wrong about when it was coming out. Geb forced to roll out. Now, do we see Cleo die here? Probably not, because she has lifesteal. This Mercury needs to be careful.
Level 13 versus level 17 is not going to end well.
That's also a good point. This Cleo is gigantic for 5Ds at this point. I mean,
we didn't see her. Oh my god, he just disappeared.
That is tough walking into that.
Which one of these characters is supposed to go into walls? Because I think Merc just got splattered into that one.
Yeah, he did. And Cleo just reminding us which one of us it is by going into that wall. Not really able to do anything. While we are now starting to see that gold swing for 5Ds after these two team fights have erupted. I mean, this Geb staring down a level 18 Kleena as a level 11. That's tough. Surprised not to see the Scorpion get invaded, but you know what's more important to any solo laner? The enemy team's blue buff. That is absolutely what they're going for here. We'll have to see if they're able to out-secure it. They should have the advantage as a Cleo into the Arthur, and they do. 5 levels. Beyblade can only get you so far, please, in this matchup. As we see, wait, Nox getting caught out, though. Looks like they must have been diving in mid, because Geb
might get out. Oh, nice Ganesha ult to stop the Geb.
Nice Ganesha, and we'll have to see, does Chang'e have the damage to outsustain the Nem?
Mercury does have ult. He could make a play.
Yeah, Merc trying to contest those mid camps instead. Still 4 levels down. This poor guy.
He can't do anything. It's just Cleo's just running around and ruining his day.
And as usual, Cleo is ruining another Smite game. What is new? It's only been about, what, 8 months?
I don't know. I'm first ban for every game.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't see a light day. Bit of a 1v1 going on here. Izanami leaves Aegis a little bit late to get out there.
Oh, with the ult.
Leap in, though, from Hoi Yi, and he barely
nice
wins.
Kill by the Hoi Yi.
He barely wins that trade. Well played by the Hoi Yi to win that engagement there.
Might... Oh, just goes into a wall. Yeah.
That's a bold 1v1 for him to take as well, because he did not have relics going into that fight. So, while Izanami did, so that was very, very, very bold. But maybe he noticed that at his build he had the crit, and Cleo did not. Not Cleo. Izanami didn't at that point, or at least not as much. We'll never know. Maybe we'll ask post game and find out. But we do see the Nox ult coming out for self peel. My goodness, we are back to our usual shenanigans of fighting for the sake of fighting, as there are no neutral objectives on the map or farm to fight over on that side of the map either. But now we do see we see a beacon of hope, right, for Waffle House now, with the Izanami being behind the Hoi Yi in terms of farm. It also looks like Chang'e is a level up on the Nox in mid. Maybe there is some hope still to be had here. We see Nemesis look. Oh,
Oh well,
beating.
there's unfortunate beats there. I don't think that was much.
Yeah, it looks like it must have been scared that the Merc or the Geb were going to alter. We'll have to see what happens here as there's fighting going on. It looks like Arthur does not secure his buff, so Cleo does get the invade off. Speed running to level 20 at this point. Must only be a wave or two away at this point. Um, what has anything really surprised you so far this game, Johnny, in terms of as we see Cleo take almost no damage from an Arthur charge build?
Yeah, I think that's the most surprising thing. I'm like, oh, we see the Mercury ulting, and they might be actually able to kill her here.
Just kidding.
She's gonna try to go into a wall.
Now we see her sustaining up a little bit.
Oh, nice! Nice Meiji look by the
shutdown.
There.
Fantastic Meiji look over the wall. So that was a very just again as Caster's cursing once again. You really do. Yeah, it's a good question. There must have been something going on. Chang'e ult, maybe.
Chang'e ult, yeah.
Yeah, it must have been a Chang'e
ult.
You see another
solo kill.
Another solo kill by Ascension, redeeming himself.
Chang'e.
Ascension redeeming himself from last game, definitely showing up to this one instead. Yeah. Now continuing to push that lead. We see a Toxic Blade out of the Izanami as well. This is a build. This is a build you can go.
One crit item and then no lifesteal into Kins and Toxic. All I'm saying is, I don't think he's winning those 1v1s.
Yeah, that's true. He does have a little bit of lifesteal built into Atalanta's, but that is hardly noticeable in comparison to Leather Call, and then again, just Hou Yi being able to crit him a little bit more. And, you know, other than that, they're pretty even in their builds. Maybe they're looking for those duels with Ichaival, but that stun is just so powerful on Hou Yi. The stun knock up and the slow from the ult. Again, we're seeing 2 levels now out of the Hou Yi. I believe this is the numbers build, actually. This is what Hou Yi is building the R/Smite numbers build for ADCs.
The optimal DPS build?
The optimal DPS build, yes, that Cyclone was running this weekend in the SPL. That Kin's Rush, apparently it does work pretty well, and now we see Deathbringer coming out, so that's a slight deviation from this from the optimal numbers build, but hey, big red numbies, you know, what can you say other than big red numbies? We do see Gold Fury up on the map. We see the 5Ds grouping around it a little bit quicker here. They do have a 2,000 gold lead, so they should be favored in this fight. We'll have to see. It looks like Nem is trying to dive the Hou Yi, but Hou Yi kills them instead. Now he's in a 3v1, a little bit caught out here. Had both relics. I'm surprised they weren't used. Massive Chang'e ult.
Leo's taking tons of damage too. Massive ult by the Izanami.
And Mercury does get shut down before being able to use his ultimate there. Good Aegis by Chang'e to live there, but now we're just seeing that damage, man. We're seeing that Izanami recasting on that back line in that fight, and now they should just be able to walk it down towards that Gold Fury.
What's crazy to me was that was a 4v5, and they absolutely destroyed them in that fight. It was just like, there was almost like no, like, it wasn't difficult at all for them to make that play. It's just crazy the amount of damage they did. It's just so much area CC, so much area damage, like all the slows coming out, the massive zoning. Like, this team is very effective once they get into a team fight phase.
Yep, and so now we see Mercury has taken a 2-level lead over Nemesis in the jungle, which is it seemed to have come out of nowhere. Arthur has almost caught up to Cleo now that she's level 20. You know, there's not much of a difference at this point in the game for them in terms of experience, at least. And we do still see Chang'e being a solid little bit ahead of the Nox, which is, I think, just natural with the way that they've fought at this point in the game. The gold swing in the favor of 5Ds, though. 5,000 gold now after that Gold Fury. That is not what you expected to see, I don't think, building up into that team fight.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage in the game, 5,000 gold is not as bad as if, for example, it was 15 minutes into the game. You know, we're starting to hit that level cap for the ADCs. Both ADCs have hit level 20 already. There seem to be on their final items. Izzo seems to be a bit more ahead after that team fight, but, you know, it's not that. One item difference isn't that big of a deal at the moment. but you still just don't want to see, as we see Chang'e getting ganked in mid.
Emerald finally coming out. I guess they decided that they finally
Better
did
late
have
than
to
never.
use it. Yeah, well, they had to use it. I think they realized after Izanami took so much poke there. Now, one thing I do notice, Izanami has that Silver Branch, and maybe that's why they're going that Toxic Blade build. They got pretty much the full bull build outside of Odibo at this point, so they will be hitting extremely hard on those front line with the Kins proccing as well. One thing to note, Geb does have 3 full stacks of the hide enemy in line at this point, but Izanami is one of the best characters in the game at clearing those because of her double auto attack style. So we'll have to see how effective that item actually is for them. I expect them to be fully melted by this Izanami if they are ever this captured. Mercury getting CC'd, beats Force.
Charged ult by the Arthur. I feel like this game, Arthur's been using his charge ult more as an escape than an initiation, which is not really something you want to see.
No, you don't want to have to see that at all. And now you see Arthur
probably
paying the price. Arthur paying the price of his ADC being poor.
The stun break is dropped as well. Cataclysm still not used. We see it there. I don't think it's going to matter at this point. I see it's just going to fall.
And now we have a 5v2 with the minion wave here, 4 5Ds, and with an Izanami Nemesis. I would be shocked to not see them go for a Phoenix here. Maybe they decide that they want to go for fire just to be safe, and yeah, I'll eat my words, whatever. Take the free fire giant at this point, but they've got 20 seconds without Geb, Arthur, or Yi being back up on the map. I mean, I think they could have done both here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they could have definitely done both. And I just want to mention real quick, you know, we were talking about like Jay's damage on the King Arthur last game. This game, we see that she has what appears to be like more damage than maybe 3 to 4 players combined at this point. I mean, it's just the damage coming from this god is just absolutely insane at this point.
Yeah, full, and look at that build too, by the way. I mean, there's one damage.
Yeah, she's not dying anytime soon.
1.5 damage items maybe built if you want to call.
I think Glad Shield's a damage item. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So, but look at that. Not too worried about the magical damage. I mean, I guess that Oni's is good to protect that. So Chang'e is going to really be the determining factor right here, I think, for killing this Cleo. She does have the Divine Ruin as well to help out. This Merc might be in trouble.
I think she'll be fine. You know, slow immune is not really very fast. I don't think Cleo's able to catch up to him.
Now, we do see Geb falling significantly behind the 5D support at this point in the game because, partly probably because of that Fire Giant, but it'll be curious to see how fast they can just punish this Geb for being level 15 at this point in the game, because I mean, again, Izanami should just melt him.
Laid back here by the King Arthur. I wonder if he's Phoenix Siege.
Yes, we see them starting already. I expect to see the Ganesh ult coming out.
Nice ult by the Chang'e. 3-man stun. Looks like she will get out alive as well.
Yes, living there is huge for her. Arthur, no speeds, gets CC'd by the Nox and just taken down there. Big Merkle in the backline. But he is forced to dash out because he has no way to immune that damage. He does have a blink to get back in there, though. So, a successful siege by 5Ds, no deaths on their end. They do get the Phoenix, however, very, very, very close fight. I mean, they got it by the tip of their nose, I would say, even. They were scraping by in terms of their healthiness.
We do see there is potential here for Waffle House. It's like, they do have the damage to take down the Cleo now, you know, like, despite everything, she is still an assassin. You know, her base stats aren't as high as a typical solo laner, so at this stage in the game, you know, she's going for the pen build again. She's got Obsidian, she got Obshard, Divine, and Rod of Tahuti online at this point. Chang'e is going to be hitting very hard onto that, you know, so if she's not careful, she could actually die in these fights.
That she could, and I think we have to shout out only one nut here. 0-0-18 on the Ganesh. I mean, he doesn't have any kills. Like, that's kind of scuffed. That's kind of scuffed. That thank you, Johnny. You know, we'll let the bit die there then. But very well played game so far by him, going undying at this point in the game. No one else on the map has done that. Everyone else has been all about getting in there. We do see the siege starting here. They're most likely going to be waiting for those fire minions in on the left duo side of the map to start hitting the Titan or forcing someone to rotate. We're going to have to look for a huge Mercury ultimate here. One thing to note, Izanami no beads, so if she does get Merc ulted and comboed, she will be in some serious danger here.
Yeah. I agree. She will have it back soon. Maybe they know the timer, so they have a 10-second window here to make a play. I don't think they will though, as Merc has to go to the left side of the as the Phoenix Siege begins.
Cleo going on the back line here, taking a lot of damage, getting ulted. Merc with a big ult too. He does survive, but he is caged now by that Ganesh. Big kills coming out here. Both supports one support goes down for the mid laner here in this case. Looks like the sustain from Fire Giant and sustain from the built-in kit, though, is going to keep 5Ds alive. That Phoenix, oh, by the way, also died in the meantime. So now we've got a Mercury with a Lonely Blink and nothing else as the only defense for this Titan. Cleo blinking in. That's pretty BM. Doesn't even get the kill or anything for it. Now they might be in trouble. They don't have a tank for this. Mercury does get rooted by Nox, though, so well played by the Nox to take them down there. Then the Waffle House does fall. The Waffle House does get eaten by 5Ds. Those 5 dudes must be running it down and on their way to their next dining destination. And that is a quick 2-0 from 5Ds tonight. I believe that keeps them undefeated at this point in the game and or the season. And what do you think about their performance tonight?
Yeah, I mean, like, we have to shout out Jay versus the Worlds, like, I mean, like, the name speaks for itself. He was absolutely going to town on Waffle House this game. He was like eating all their waffles. We have to mention the support as well. Only having 2 deaths in both games. I mean, for a support, that is just amazing. If you only die twice in two games, it's just incredible play by him.
Yes, very, very well played. I agree. And when we look at wards here, Jay making up for the warding a little bit on the other side
He
with
doubled
only
his wards.
he did double his ward count this
He
game.
placed 2 of his free wards he got before level 12. Very
Yes, he
impressive.
did. Well done. By but still 41,000 player damage. I mean, I don't even remember him being that far up the charts at the start of the game, so they must have gotten caught up significantly there. That's a ton of damage, a ton of minion damage as well, as you see. So they were farming the map extremely well. 618 GPM. They were way ahead, 100 ahead of the next closest player on the side of Waffle House. Again, just a pretty clinical performance from Jay, and the rest of the team did well. I mean, the Nox, not a ton of damage, but they 15 kills involved. I mean, they did their job in terms of hitting that CC and locking players down. Ganesh doing the same thing, and then Izanami just rifling those auto attacks down as the match continued. 27,000 player damage, very, very solid. Did a lot of objective damage and burn, and I'm sure as well. Um, and yeah, we saw King Arthur prioritized by both teams, and again, the Arthur looked very strong for the side of Waffle House, but it wasn't enough to. It seemed like they came in with a game plan here, right? It seems like the 5Ds did come in with a game plan to shut down that Arthur with the Ganesh Nox combo and Nemesis. I mean, I can't imagine that guy was feeling very good blinking into that. And I don't believe he did have beads, but he did not have them. You can only beads one of those CCs, right? So that's gonna be very tough here. And as I was asking production if we do have an interviewee here, I believe we do, because we have Sean Tastic from the side of 5Ds. What does 5D stand for? Is it 5 dudes, or what's the deal with that, Sean?
Any of my fellow dodgeball fans, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Okay, that's I think Realize is a little too young to get that joke, but I did. At least I can appreciate it. So well done there with that reference to that classic movie. What a great movie that was. All right. Why don't we start off with how do you think your team performed today?
Great. We knew exactly what we had to do to get the dub. and we did that both games. We're not gonna say what that was, but we had a very solid game plan. We knew what our bans were gonna be, and that's why our bans were the same for 2 games straight. And we made sure that we we followed the plan that we had to a T.
That makes sense. Well, what about you, Realize? Like, any hot topics to ask Sean about?
Yeah, that knock snipe down at the left side lane on the Mercury, that was very nice play by you there. Getting that.
Appreciated.
Yeah, we were shouting Kobe for you. That was a fantastic shot. I agree. Who do you think on your team really led the way today? Were you guys all shout cows, giving call outs as well, or was it really just Jay running it down? Because from our perspective, at least, I mean, again, 2 40,000 damage games back to back. He was dominating it on the actual battlegrounds. How about behind the scenes with the comms? Was there a clear leader, or was it everybody kind of contributing today?
Definitely, everybody contributing. We know that if we know to just at some point we got to just let the pit bull off the leash and let Jay do his thing. And he does it phenomenally every single game. And absolutely want to shout out our support. He 2 deaths in 2 games is unreal. The peel
Indeed.
he got on the Kumbhakarna to the point where they had to, if I'm not mistaken, first ban that
Yes,
in the
they
second
did.
game.
They did
Yeah,
first
that's
ban it.
if you get first banned in the next game, that you
And
were
as a
an issue for
support,
them as a support. So like very big shout out to our support. He made sure a lot more people got out than they should have.
Yes, I agree. And yeah, I mean, again, dying only twice, I believe, in 2 games feels really, really good, as well as your support. Again, tough to not get any kills on that Ganesh this game, but we'll
You
see in
know,
the future if he's able to pull that off.
hate to see
Um,
it.
yeah,
You know.
he did well warding as well. Shout out those wards, and yeah, I agree that his peel was it was really good, but also he was forcing tons of beads, making the job of your jungler and your solo laner much easier, being able to just exude that damage without worrying about CCing or being immune to, I suppose, at that point. All right, and then I guess our last question is any words about the taunt spamming that was going on? I believe it was primarily in the solo lane, but
I was about to
I'd
say I
love
don't
to.
know nothing about taunt spamming, but
Ooh.
um, I mean, if there's solo lane banter going on, as long as it's not toxic, do what you got to do.
I agree.
Um,
We love to see it, and from a spectator's
definitely.
perspective, it brings the punch, But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No, it was definitely a very good game overall. If anyone got too far out, they got called on it, but we reeled them back in. Everything was solid. It was good. Shout out to Waffle House. Y'all played a great set. Jormungandr mid was not what I was expecting, even after seeing a Fafnir picked. So, and then shout out to Weave because he got a 1v2 double kill onto Nemesis and Jormungandr. That kind
Yeah,
of
that's
clenched that
crazy
game
play
for us
there.
right there.
that was
Right.
a fantastic play. The Aegis that does damage for some reason. That was a fantastically. He played that fight perfectly. That was pretty sick, and it allowed you guys to then take a 4v3 on the other side of the map and pretty much wipe and win from there. So that well done, Sean. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks
Really
for
fun to
having me.
cast that game. You guys deserved that win. A very well deserved win, I think, at that point. Again, just maybe see if you can get Jay to buy a ward chalice
Yeah.
next game or something.
Yeah, but
Maybe
he doesn't need to
In his
do that. He
defense,
just needs
he
to
said
put down the free ones.
in his defense, he ended the game with a sentry in his pocket. So,
Oh, okay. So he
Oh,
was
so he
ready.
spent the gold.
oh yeah, no, we'll work on wording. We're calling it out all the time, but we'll work on that with everybody too. So, thanks for having me for the interview. Good luck with Waffle House and their next games after next week, and 5Ds is 2-0 baby, Jersey.
Jersey, there you go. All right. And I believe we have one more player interview coming up here. We have Logan 505 and oh, we've got multiple people jumping into the booth. Sorry, what was that? You lied. Ah, man, production behind the scenes lying to me. That's tough. All right, and we do have two more players coming from 5Ds, neither of them having the same name on Discord as they do in game, which is totally not annoying for the production team. That's okay. We'll get over it. What are these two players' names, and if they would like to introduce themselves?
I'm Lock505. I am Weeb since 1998 for in game.
Nice. And then Vamp, what about you?
Dracul. Everybody just screwed me up, but Dracul or Vamp
Oh, okay, so we've got
goes
the
hand in hand.
the jungler. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's fair. That's fair. We've got the jungler and the ADC coming from 5Ds. Again, what a performance today. First off, we have to ask, Loken, what was going through your mind during that 1v2 in mid in game one?
Not gonna lie, did not know that Vert on the Nem was just around the corner. Thought I had a nice little 1v1 against the Yorm, and then kind of panicked a little bit. After the whole ordeal, I told my team, after the thing, that my hand was shaking the entire time of that. Uh,
Well, we couldn't
but
tell if that makes you feel any better. You looked calm and confident, ready to. You literally walked right back into them with that Aegis pop too. That was incredible to watch.
appreciate it.
And then how about Dracul for you? You saw we saw Nemesis prioritized in both games in the jungle this game. Is that did you pick that primarily to counter the Arthur pick, or is it a very comfortable god for you? What's your opinion on that? If you're willing to share it with the rest of the people listening.
In my opinion, Nem's sort of a top pick in jungle at the moment. She's recognised as one of the top junglers. I wasn't surprised seeing Virtually pick it up in the first game, um, and it does counter KA quite hard. Just dropping the Divine Judgment on KA near enough secures his death if it's in a team fight or sort of outnumbered. So it's just a nice counter for KA, but she just feels strong in the jungle no matter what anyway.
I would agree with that. I mean, again, Nemesis ult, Ganesh ult, and Nox his silences and ults all on a King Arthur. What's he supposed to do, right? And I think that you guys executed that game plan extremely well. All right, I guess just a last general question for you guys. What was the say insight into the banter that was happening on the map? I don't know if you guys were witnessing it or part of it as well, but was there a little bit of a salt factory being brewed out there or what?
I
I,
mean, not
I,
that I'm aware of.
I don't
I
know. We
would
saw
say
some
not.
solo kills. We saw some taunts. Just some polite banter.
Well, I didn't notice too much, but I wouldn't be too surprised. I mean, a lot of us all play together as far as the two teams. I know I play with Vert quite a bit. So I know the two teams kind of mesh outside of the league as well. So wouldn't surprise me too much if there was a lot of banter.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's always fun to play in these leagues with your friends or and then have that opportunity to really rub it in. I mean, again, if I got a solo kill on Realize, I don't think I'd ever let him live it down. That's for damn sure. Realize, well, why don't we bring you in? Well, you got any questions for these two?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, how did you guys feel about Jay just like running in there, going on like these like 1v5 rampages? I mean, was there anyone saying like, "Hey, chill out," or were you all like, you know what, just let him do his thing? Like what was that?
Well,
I mean, there was a few times where we sort of ask him to get him to fall back for a bit if we saw sort of if we knew a rotation was inbound or if we knew he was sort of overextending, we'd ask him to fall back a bit. But at the end of the day, it's Jay. Sort of Jay does Jay things, and we
yeah,
just yeah.
that's the J factor, huh?
yeah. I think Sean put it best where sometimes you gotta let the pit bull off the leash. Sometimes you gotta like Vamp said, bring the leash back a little bit, maybe tug on it. But I think in the end, Jay does fantastic things no matter what he's doing. I mean, clearly he played fantastic today. So
Yeah, he absolutely
Agreed,
did. I
100%.
just it's all over the place. 40,000 damage in both games, at least in both games. One last question I have for Loken here. That build coming out of ADC, I don't think I've ever seen it before. What was the thought process? I mean, I guess the thought process was eventually getting to that Silver Branch bow, right, and then getting that passive online. But I haven't seen Toxic Blade built on an ADC in a long time. What was some of the reasoning behind it?
Well, once they locked in Geb, we knew going crit was going to be kind of rough, and then going into the Hoi, we knew again that crit wasn't necessarily going to be the best option. So with the Chang'e in the game, our team felt like we needed some sort of anti-heal. So Toxic Blade kind of fit right in with the attack speed stim build that I was going there. But
I think it makes sense. So when you explain it that way, it does make a lot of sense. So that's great to hear. Well done once again for your win. You guys are now 2-0 at this point in the game, the season. That's always a good place to be, undefeated. And yeah, thank you guys so much for giving us your time, and we look forward to seeing you back on the battleground soon.
yeah, appreciate it.
Have a
Peace.
good one, boys. Beautiful. All right, so that is a fantastic place to end it on our side. However, we will be rating Sabnova, someone who sponsors our server, who helps us run these things around here, who put Realize and Paxkey, in the booth today. So if you enjoyed our casting, go and tell Sabnova so that she knows to continue putting us on games. And we don't get paid, so we get paid in affirmation and kind words. So thank you guys so much for listening. Realize, do you have anything to say before we go and raid her?
I mean, yeah, just thank you guys so much for just sticking around and listening to us. This is my first cast, I hopefully I didn't sound a bit too nervous. I hope you all appreciated me being here, and yeah, thank you guys so much again for coming in and listening to us cast these games.
All right, well, there you go. Yes, that was Realize's first ever cast. I think he did a pretty damn good job. So again, please feel free to shout us out in Sabnova's chat as we head over there right now. Oath, take us away. Thank you again for camming as well, buddy. Oh no. Oh no, we have to stall. We have to improvise here. What's going on? We got 28 people waiting and listening, and again.
We get it worked out. Did we successfully raid? All right, we done? We finished?